Berg Harvest Farm. This is going to be a cool one for you guys. It all just worked out. We had lunch first, just outside of Paonia, Colorado, and we're going to get going. Stephanie, thank you, first of all.
Absolutely.
Throw that mic right up to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thrilled
cool.
to be here.
And Lauren,
Love the
thank
place.
you too.
Yes, thank you guys for stopping by. This is going to be a lot of fun to show you around.
So much to see. We want to kind of just get the tour, if you would. We've got some folks that we brought with us too, and this is a good time. If you wouldn't mind, let's just start. We're going to kind of do a backwards in time, aren't we?
That's what we're going to do.
This is the farm.
This is our new barn. We built this in 2011, and this houses our sorting lines and our cooler. There's a large 20 by 20 foot cooler in there. That's where we store the fruit before sending it out on the trucks. So it was designed to drive in one end, drive out the other. Ultimately, we may have a commercial kitchen there to process our fruit. We're not quite there yet, but we have some plans.
And it has great energy because this was built and constructed with the help of dozens of volunteers. That is part of an annual work week we have here for people to come, gather, play on the farm, see what it's like, eat good food, and build community.
Oh, I love it.
How do people find out more about that?
Well, so far it's been word of mouth. And it's a Greek mouth, right? So we talk and talk. And but yeah, it's really been about word of mouth. And
Wow, so cool.
Started with the barn raising, and then
a little
I
bit
think-
before, actually.
Yes, we actually started when probably I'd say 2008 was one of the first years we asked our families to all show up. It was our first replanting. We pulled out a lot of the old trees, and you'll see a lot of our newer groves. It was the cherries that we had in 2008 and 2010, and we just kind of sent out a flag saying, "Family, we need help," and they showed up, and they all came out and helped us plant.
yeah, we're going to do
Could I
some-
ask as we walked? Tell us the story because you have four of the kids of the original.
Yeah, what's the history?
Yeah, tell us the story from the original Paul Berg.
So Paul Berg is Stephanie's grandfather. Stephanie and my husband Andrew, brother Paul, Nikki, and Paul Berg bought this place in 1943. And actually, I'll let Stephanie take over because it's really her family. I married into this whole experience, but
There's no
Steph's a
backing
little
out
more
now.
organic, I know.
Well, it's really quite wonderful. As Lauren said, Paul Berg bought the farm in 1943 from the Matthews, who purchased it at, I believe, the turn of the 19th century and 20th century, forgive me, and purchased it from one of the original homesteaders in the Paonia Valley, Samuel Wade. So he didn't just buy the land, he bought history and community along with it because people know each other. People still know each other, and they know, oh, you're Paul Berg's granddaughter, or I mean, it's still alive, and that's part of what we'd hope to preserve.
It is so beautiful. So 60, 80 years now, you've had it in your family.
Yeah, so how do you preserve that? What are the steps that you take it's an ethos. You're conscientious about it.
Well, one of the things we did is my husband Andrew and I took over financially in about 2004, and we put all the land you're seeing here, these lots, in a conservation easement. It was Black Canyon Land Trust. So what we wanted to do was prevent the destruction of the agricultural aspect of the land. So it is in an easement now and protected. So these are
This is your first block of cherries.
this is the first block of cherries that we replanted in 2008.
Take it in.
And this year, as a lot of people know or don't know, the cherry crop was really decimated by a late freeze.
Yes, we had a freeze in mid-April. And what you can see here, this right here is part of the microjet irrigation system. So we'll look at that in a little bit. But what you'll see here on these lines, this is actually a natural gas line. And about 2 years ago, we put in probably 2 miles of gas lines. And these hook up to some heaters that buy us about another 3 degrees. So these heaters you'll see throughout the orchard. Unfortunately, it got down to about 20 degrees Between our heaters and our fans, we can squeak by at maybe about 25, but it just got too cold. So we didn't lose the majority of our cherry crop. Fortunately, they're starting to ripen, so you can see a few cherries here and
I
there.
felt guilty picking
there's
one
some
off
right
there.
there.
Oh my God, this is the commodity.
So
What's interesting, a lot of people don't realize the reason why you put the heat down under the trees is because it'll actually almost create like a bubble to keep the heat in with the trees. Now, we were talking with someone in Palisade the other day. They felt that on this last one, their theory is actually when they turned on the fans, that was bringing cold air down. They thought that because it was a weird inversion that they felt that they were seeing with this last freeze. So I love talking with people like yourself because you have a spectrum of knowledge that most don't even understand or comprehend. So thank you.
Oh, of
I mean,
course,
this
and
is
that's
awesome.
why I wish my husband Andrew were here. He knows a lot more than I do.
And you have Bings and Rainiers, right, in this row, right?
do.
Okay.
We also have Skinas, which is very similar to Bing, and I believe that was for some pollination issues.
Well, they're nice and sweet.
Are they?
Nice
Good.
and sweet. Yeah, it's interesting. In Palisade, it is cherry season, right? Right
Yeah.
here.
Right, yeah.
You're a couple
We
weeks
should.
behind,
We're a
right?
couple
Yeah, we
weeks
should
behind.
be. Yeah, this should be filled with red cherries right now, and yeah.
And even in a freeze, there's never a dull moment. The growth on these trees, the new growth is unbelievable. So our orchardist, Augustine,
Yeah.
is a master pruner.
He is.
He is a master
amazing.
pruner. So we're getting ready for next
Yeah.
year.
To see this much new growth on these trees, we have never had growth like this before. So this is all you can see from here. That's almost 24 inches. That's just amazing for this year.
And that's all available space to grow. That's real estate that
Yes.
cherries will actually grow on.
Absolutely.
Where would you guys like to stroll to next?
If we keep walking, right? Yeah.
have
I
to-
love your place, Lauren. What you all have done here at Berg Harvest is it's so beautiful.
Well, we've tried hard. I tell you, it's a labor of love for sure.
Well, and wait, now your mother, Stephanie, still lives on the farm.
She does. She lives in the Victorian home. We will pass it, I believe. And she is a wealth of knowledge. She has the family history, not just the name, and is devout to the family and carrying it forward, as well as her sister Alice. Her sister Alice lives across the street, and they're a wonderful pair, the matriarchs of the farm.
So as we go on these farm tours, and again, Berg Harvest is where we're at today. Who's your customer? How do they get it? Who are you? What's the business model here?
Well, we did open our market 4 years ago in 2016, and that was our effort to directly market our fruit to our customers here in the North Fork Valley. We've been learning a lot on the marketing side. That was never our strong point. We thought it would be wonderful to take over the farm and to grow this amazing fruit. And then when we got fruit, it was like, oh my goodness, we need to have somebody to buy it.
Sure.
So my brother-in-law, Paul Thaliveris, was the first one to reach out to Brian at Growers Organic and establish that relationship. So that's when we began packing more of our fruit and making sure we had markets for it to sell to distributors. So,
And one of the things during the COVID outbreak that we've seen people learning is how can we control our own food supply chain, and how can we go direct more often? Have you seen a demand for direct?
not so much as yet.
Yeah.
We, as I had mentioned, we've revamped our website to make it more friendly for online orders.
Great.
And trying to market at least our juices we have directly to consumers. So it's still a puzzle that we're solving. We had worked with a local packing shed up until, again, a year or two ago.
Uh-huh.
And now we're really taking more of that marketing effort on ourselves.
Okay, so you guys that are watching these streams and you see the best of the best that we show you, reach out to these guys. Talk to them about what your needs may be, whether it's distribution or restaurants or local front range, those types of things. reach out and just communicate and see what's going on. It's also
That would be amazing.
worth a
Yeah.
trip coming by too, right?
Yeah.
See,
We've got the general store and deli.
Right. Feed the people.
All right, so if we look down this way, what you're going to see is the apple block off down to your left, and we got a couple of sheds down here, and that's what houses our irrigation system, our microjet irrigation system. And there are some filtration units because we take the water right out of the ditch and settle it through some sand ponds, there's a settling box, and then it comes through the pumps, the sand filtration system. So it's really an amazing system. My husband, again, knows so much about it, but
And this is that micro
that's
yes.
spray that she's talking about. And this is, one of the things a lot of people might or might not know. We are walking on a certified organic farm.
Yes.
And so, and one of the things that I think is so cool is we're walking down these rows, and you maintain them. I see your ground cover crop that you have planted in here. Someone has planted in here, and it's stuck. And that's this whole ecosystem that you're creating in an organic environment. And you've got Evercrisp, and this is a huge deal. Tell people about your Evercrisp. I mean, that's a big deal. You're one of the first Colorado farms to have them.
Really, I didn't even realize that. Well,
Really?
no, not the.
Is-
Again, I wish my husband were here. He's the one who selected the varieties.
Gotcha.
Now these are the Honeycrisp down here. Those were grafted years and years ago. This section right here, you'll see these are a lot of baby trees here, and we'll take you to another section where these are the young varieties that we're branching out to. We've got some Aztec Fuji, the Evercrisp. There's probably more Gala. I think we put some Gala in. So, and again, it's not a real high volume. We wanted enough for our store, and then hopefully enough to ship to some special, if we get involved in CSAs or anything else like that, we'll be able to have a variety other than just the Honeycrisp.
Now, and the
So-
Evercrisp is a mix, right?
It is.
Oh,
yes. Honeycrisp and
Yeah, and Mexican Fuji.
is it?
Yep.
Okay.
And you're about to grow the Aztec Fuji here,
Yes.
which I think is really cool.
Yes. So.
So,
That's the best. The property is always immaculate when
Well,
we come.
thank you.
you probably say, well, hey, there's a couple days you can catch us.
Yes.
It's
yes.
basically true.
Yeah.
Our orchardist is amazing.
It truly is. And,
Yeah.
some farms you see stuff stacked up places and clutter and junk. But for a farm that's been around for the longest time, and I'm sure you probably do have an area or two that you're thinking of in your head that we're not showing you that. I don't know. But
We have no secrets. It is as it is.
throughout the years, how much has changed?
Just probably the major one was these, again, were the very old, huge cherry trees that we pulled out. They were diseased. And again, going to a dwarf root stock, mainly for labor. You want to keep the cherries lower and for safety with our pickers on ladders. Much denser planting.
Which
These,
way
I
are
think,
we
are at 8-foot centers. So a lot of this has all been new in the last 15 years. This is our beach block over here. Now the vegetables are up here.
oh, we w-
Oh,
we
do
need-
you?
yeah. Let's go see
Shall we?
Augustine.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like Augustine might be with
Yeah,
us.
he said he had to take off, but I don't know. Alberto
Okay.
might be here.
Very cool. This is such.
I'll tell you one other thing
Please.
that's changed, if I may.
Yep.
I think it's the perception of community, and I think about the parallels between my grandfather and when he owned and harvested,
Yes, ma'am.
and what we're doing. It is involving people from all over the country.
Yeah.
It's not just family, but it's friends of friends, people who want to get outside and experience beautiful country and see how a piece of fruit is grown and laugh and play. And so that's different.
Well, it's really bred into you too. This is the third time you've mentioned community, and I am so community driven. That's really why we do the Modern Eater Show, is to drive
Awesome.
that community and create like-minded people that want to feed and learn off of each other. And just like farming, people do the same thing. You feed and you learn off people. So
Absolutely.
what we're seeing here,
He
this
is
thing,
here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
They
I'm
are
trying-
here.
trying to duck
This is
out.
wonderful.
No.
So this is a real treat.
Jay,
We're
this is
going
where
to
you
be meeting
take over.
Augustine Pantoja. He did a lot of work in the Dominguez Canyon area, and his son Alberto. So,
Augustine, my friend. Good
The man, the myth, the legend.
and his son Alberto here. So,
Do you remember us?
Yes.
How are you? Good to see you. Remember Jay?
Brian, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You took
Very
us
good.
to school last time on pruning.
Well, I remember I told you guys about the peaches.
Uh-huh.
Not much about cherries and another trees, but yeah, it's
Can I
absolutely.
can I grab that? If you don't mind, just I know you're. Come here for a
It's
second.
okay.
And Jake, hands you a microphone, Jay. This is always.
Hola Agustín, ¿cómo está?
Oh, muy bien. ¿Y usted cómo está?
Muy bien, gracias. Ya estaba diciendo que no sé si ya recuerdas nosotros, pero estamos regresado.
Qué bueno, me da mucho gusto.
He says, yeah. He goes, that's great. Nice to meet you again.
Nice
Well,
to see you.
I think that people need to hear about really.
Yes.
I mean, I think Lauren, Stephanie, I think all the Bergs would agree with this statement that I'm about to make. Is you have helped bring this place back to life, and you have given this a new life.
What it needed.
And so thank you. I mean, at every level you care about the organics. To the point is he even started a little plot of his own here in the back of vegetables and just everything you've done, Augustine. Thank you.
Well, no, not a problem. So thank you so much, you guys coming
Yes.
and visit this place. Yeah, absolutely. I really like it. Take care of this place, like you said. Well, it's sometimes really hard to do it, but you know, work is work. It's necessary to. I try to do my best job, so I do it the most I can.
This has
Sometimes-
become your home.
Yeah.
Levanta el microphone.
That shirt's pretty clean today, though.
Yeah.
That's a clean shirt, man.
No,
Hey,
no.
tell us what's going on with these. How's the health of the trees this year? What is it looking like? How's the water supply? Is it a little dry? Temperature?
Well, this time I tell Lauren last week about it, the new growth. Well, especially in cherries, and well, and the small black and pears we have. Well, also, and the honeycrisp apples too. We changed a little bit the irrigate system, the time and the irrigating, because
Time of day?
well, it's actually one time a week, but it's more than 12 hours, like
Gotcha.
before because last year we have like 12 to 18 hours the most. So now I changed it to 20 to 24 hours, and so probably you guys can see the difference. The growth is more.
It really
More
is.
water, yeah.
So, but we not very lucky for
The freeze
for
this
the
year
freeze
was.
this year. So it was really cold, and well, peaches I think would be okay. Also, one of the two blocks of well, apples and young trees of apples over there. We have okay. Honeycrisp, not too good too, but I think be okay for.
Were they blooming already? Was there?
Yeah, no, not much, but I think it's like 1 year is like really heavy load on the trees, and after that year is light. So this
Yeah.
time is probably the
The
right
light,
time to
yeah.
have that.
This looks like a man with a lot to say right now. Jump in on this.
Yeah, so last year we decided to start a little business of our own.
We call that a side hustle.
Yeah, I guess you can call that side hustle, yeah. And, you know, it's enough to keep us busy for sure.
What do you got going on here?
So right here we got tomatoes. They're called Cherokee Purple.
Ooh.
Then we got tomatillos. Then we got zucchinis.
Uh-huh.
Then we got cucumbers, and then the rest of the area we're gonna do winter squash. But we gotta wait, since we're organic and we don't want to spray anything really. We gotta wait till about 4th of July week,
Uh-huh.
so that way we can kind of mess with the bugs' life cycle, and they don't hurt the plant as much.
Nice.
And that way that saves us a little bit more money, and then we can do it as organically as we can and keep the plant, you know, healthier, and more than anything, the health for the person.
Yeah.
We want it to be super healthy.
I love it. I'm a balcony farmer. So I live on the 12th floor in a high rise in downtown
okay.
Denver. And I
Right.
farm on the balcony. Usually it's herbs and jalapenos. And I get a few varieties. Last time it was Osage Gardens. Those yielded a lot. Jay always makes fun of me. Says I get about 5 jalapenos a year from my balcony. Get many more than that. But what do you do when you do have a little bit of infestation or bugs? I'm always wondering with my plants because
Yeah, you know.
like that waxy.
So you see this. So we got marigolds in between. All you can see all around the our fields.
Right
Yeah.
here. Yep.
Um,
All your marigolds are spotted in between. It's
yeah, and that's our main bug protection.
Is
And
that a
so,
buffer? What is that? They go to
that's kind of like a
like a scare. It's a
yeah. So they go and they lay the eggs on the marigold,
dummy. Oh,
and the marigold they don't grow there, and
the
so
sacrificial.
yeah. So far it has worked with us for many years, and
That's
we
genius.
yeah we
You
we
just
don't
cured my problem.
yeah. I mean, you know, it gets a little expensive because you have to do so many, but it's better than be spraying every week.
Man.
And once we get really heavy infestation, then we're gonna look into an organic spray that we can spray. But another thing we're lucky for is we don't have that many vegetables around, so that's why we don't have that many problems with bugs on the veggies. So
and to make sure you know, Greg, about that, or what to be specific, when you have these little farms that grow different things than everyone else around, because the bug pressure will come into some of the towns. And that's why organic farmers love to be out on the outskirts, because the bug pressure will seriously, one of the big conventional farms could push off enough bugs to kill everything these guys have
Yeah.
here.
Brian Freeman at his finest. That's what I love when you're out here in the elements. And truly, I learned so much.
Yeah.
So me spraying the dish soap on the,
Yeah.
that's no good?
well, organically we can't do that.
No?
We can't do
Even
that. and-
Dawn, it's mild. You can,
yeah, but
good for your
I mean,
cuticles.
Well, the thing is, you have to go through the process. So if you're gonna spray something, you have to present it to your certifier first. Once they approve it, and then you can go ahead and spray it. So let's say you want to use Dawn. In my position, I would said to my certifier, can I use this? They'll go through and then they'll kind of study the product, and they'll say, okay, this meets the OMRI requirements. You can go ahead and spray it, or they'll turn around and say you can't spray this because doesn't have the requirements for an organic
I really
application.
hate that doing it the right way is called non-conventional.
Right.
I hate that. Why isn't conventional doing it right? It's just so backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
And the certifications, guys like you have been doing this this is all you do, right? You would do it without certification or not, farm
definitely,
this way.
yeah.
And the certification, it costs a ton of money to be able to bring it to market.
Yeah, it does.
As organic.
Yeah, it does take.
all jacked up.
Yeah, it does take a little more money to become certified.
But once you have it,
But
it's
once you
coveted,
have it,
right?
yeah, people tend to once you tell them it's organic, they're like, okay, and
How do you fight Farmer Bob's conventional runoff? Or
well, we're lucky right now. We don't. So the orchard right next to us, it's organic, and really we just have houses, and then across the street, Lauren is the owner too, so that's organic too. So really, we don't have any problems with
great.
conventional farms around. So
That makes it even more organic for
Yes.
me.
yeah, so
Are you guys you dudes got to get back to work, or can you stroll with us for a second?
I got a meeting in Grand Junction, so I gotta get going.
A meeting in Grand Junction.
yeah.
See a guy about a horse. All right, I understand what that means.
No,
So thank you.
No,
Absolutely.
for
Thank you,
visiting.
brother.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, dude.
It's great.
Really
I
appreciate it.
appreciate you not telling anyone the peppers that you still have. I'll tell you guys how we're going to get rid of those.
Thank you. Good to see you. We'll see you next year, sir. Thank you so much. Best of the best right here. I mean, woo, woo. There you are, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you finally. Thank you.
That was a treat.
Well, I have to say that these guys, we wouldn't be where we are without them. We adore Augustine. We stole him away from another farmer in Dominguez, and I've been so happy he's involved. Alberto and his other son, Jose, helps out a lot too. So they're wonderful.
Guys, we'll see you next
You
year.
guys, thank you.
They shine. They shine truly in their element of what they do and do best. And it's great to see that too. I like the side hustle these guys have going on here.
Well, it was something, and it was really neat because Augustine needed working an orchard has certain times, and working vegetables has different times.
Well,
And they come on in different times. The product, and he was saying, hey, I keep getting asked for stuff, and we would like to do something. What is it? And so it was, I'll tell you, it was really neat, but it was all, I think it was so gracious of you, Lauren, to say, you know what, here, use our place. We'll help you get certified. Are you carrying all their stuff under your certification, or did he get his own?
Well, so what's interesting is we originally, and you're right, let me back up a minute. These were always called the terraces, and we didn't have anything planted there. So we thought, again, helping Augustine out just to do some of his own growing would be just a wonderful choice. They've done a great job. So originally we certified that block under our certification with the Colorado Department of Agriculture. Probably 2 years ago, they were so overloaded that they stopped entertaining any new requests for certification. So Alberto handled the certification, and I don't know which organization he's certified with, but I did just help him out with a lot of. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah,
when you
I think he did CDA. I think he was able to get into CDA because I think that they opened it up. Or no, did he do?
No, I think he went with a different certifier. But
okay.
One thing that I just love helping him out with is when we first started this right here is Kevin and Chris Kropp's place, and they are certified organic as well. And I remember the first year I looked at that application, it was so overwhelming, and Kevin and Chris helped me out. They just, were there to answer all my questions because there's 18 modules with an enormous amount of information that's, being certified organic is quite a lot of work. So we thought, when they help us, we can turn around and help Alberto, and that's really how we're just trying to keep the, as we've said the word community going.
I know, and I was going to say not to go backwards, but let's say it again. Let's do it again, yeah.
Because I think sustainability is a mindset.
Yes.
It is a mindset. And in order for farms to be sustainable, it's not just about the fruit. It's about the human beings that make it happen. And this diversifies. It's a win-win. It diversifies. We help each other. We help community. We bring food to people. And I think it's becoming foundational now at this level. I think this is what needs to happen. It's not just about the diversity of the crop. It's about the diversity of the people and reaching out and community. And this is a glimpse of it.
It truly is. Yeah, it is.
And it's too bad we don't have all the people who have helped us, but everyone from Lee Bradley, who is up the road at Blackbridge Winery, and Chris and Kevin Kropp, but there are just so many people.
Watch out, Jay.
Who have, unfortunately.
Don't step there, Jay.
There are a few muddy patches here, but we couldn't have done it without all the help we get.
I'm thrilled to see how well you've taken care of Augustine and his family, and just as that community of celebration of you've taken such good care of us. We need to take care of you guys as well.
Greg, what's interesting in the symbiosis to what you're saying right there? Organic farmers are actually the biggest environmentalists, and they are helping this planet more than anyone knows, because what they're doing is creating a place that's safe to grow food for future generations, and we're not polluting the water. There's so many different things about killing species.
What you looking at, Lauren?
Things. So
I'm just
you all
taking it in?
I interrupt, Brian.
No.
I didn't want to go by. This is our Glowhaven peach block. And again, this was planted about 2008. And I'm just so grateful because when we lost the cherries, we usually always lose the peaches. So we thought we had a double loss. But these have come in so well. They've already thinned these. But they're looking just fabulous. And these are probably going to come off about mid-August. The Cresthaven block was back where we started. Those come out late August, but these are just looking amazing.
And abundant.
Yes.
Abundant and very firm.
I mean, to me, it's such a surprise. We thought we had a huge peach loss as well, but the peaches are actually looking really, really good.
They're just reaching out to the heavens, going, feed me, let's get this going.
So I'm very pleased. I don't get to spend as much time out here walking around as I'd like. So.
And this, Lauren, is the Evercrisp, or is it right? Yeah. Oh, wait, is it this one? Is this the Evercrisp block, or is it no? Is it? I'm a little turned around.
I am not sure.
I think this is. Wait.
This actually was part of the 2010 cherry plant, and this is another very strange thing that you never know until you try it. This block has always done far more poorly than any of the other blocks. And we didn't really know why. We don't know if it's because coming off the slope, the
Different
cold
air.
air comes down in here. We just didn't know why. So these, we actually removed a lot of these cherry trees and replanted with the palms with these apple varieties because we were having such poor luck. Now, last season, of course, we had a great crop on these baby trees. These were planted, the cherry trees, those were from 2010. And I'd say it was probably about 3 years ago. We, poor Augustine again is digging up cherry trees and helping us replant to go to some apple varieties. But
Well, he takes it personally.
oh,
He doesn't want anything in there that's not productive
no,
at the time, right?
no, that's the thing. And so, unfortunately, I kept asking my husband to tag these so I would know exactly what variety they are. But I am not sure. But you can see these are little babies.
Come on, Brian.
Well, so,
I think this is the Evercrisp block.
is it?
I'll tell you from the last time I was here, I remember that this
You're
is
my vegetation
because I get turned.
identifying guy.
Well, I mean, I knew it was an apple
Here and-
for sure right away, but knowing the variety I would be really good. But I do think it is. I think this is the Evercrisp block.
You do get a little cooler air coming through here.
Yeah, it was just the strangest thing where even that block would do much better, but for some reason this cherry block.
Well, we were talking
well.
about this one year. Is the fact that you wonder, does the road? What are the things around your farm? Because you almost have multiple microclimates.
Yes,
I think we're going
agree.
to be able to see your mom's house real quick.
Yes,
We can wrap up, and this is so neat that this is one of those. Soon you'll be a centennial farm here. I don't
Another
know if
20.
you knew that. And so
They know it. Yeah. Hey, you don't know whether you
we've
know
been living it,
but
Brian.
We're 80 years into here. And that's a tough thing, really. I mean, a lot of times you look at those farms, so you make it to centennial. It's one thing just to have the land for that long, but it's another thing to keep family members involved and engaged. So this is what
There you go, Kathy.
You'll probably speak on that, couldn't you?
And I think you spoke to ethos and how do you build the community. And I think it's also the gatherings once a year. And there was one summer I met a couple from New Zealand. And I said, wow, this is so cool. And she said, yeah, it is really cool. And I said, how did you get here? Well, I heard a friend of a friend and knows this person. And that's what keeps it alive. It's relationships. It's relationships.
Well, I'm certainly pleased to. This first time we've met you, Stephanie, I believe. And years after years, we'll continue doing this.
I love it.
So this is what we call the old barn because this was one of the original structures. We have tried some repairs, some of the foundation sagged, we jacked it up, put some more sandstone underneath it. But this is when my mother-in-law was a young girl. She was in here with the chickens, everything else. So these buildings right here are some of the original buildings from, I think, when Matthews had the place.
I get
So
flushed
wild
with
buildings.
energy from history. You look and you're just like, if these walls could talk, or the
know, right?
mornings and the evenings, the late nights and the early mornings, and the people and the generations and the kids growing up through it. It's just, wow. You look at how rustic it is, and it just speaks volumes to the land around it, to the people who steward the land. It's incredible. It's incredible to see.
It is. So this area right here, this is a newer pole barn we built, but this back here is kind of what we lovingly call our campground. So when we have a lot of family visit, they'll pitch their tents here. We rent a couple porta potties. So
I can see why.
usually when we have a big gathering, we just turn this into a kind of a communal area for visiting. And then, of course, the young folk all retire up in the barn and play there. We did actually, of course, it's an old barn with very high internet, so they can play all their games and watch movies, and so they have a lot of
And
fun
then we
there.
close the loft doors.
Yes,
When
that's
it's
my
late,
biggest
wanna go to
fear is
sleep.
don't fall out of the barn, please. Let's just have fun, but stay inside.
Let me see that microphone real quick. This is Dave Thibodeau from Scott Brewing. Hey, this farm, this is a good tour. What struck you through this?
Absolutely. Well, once again, I like to talk about community.
Yep.
Obviously, I understand that, think about that a lot, and I like what you guys are saying. And the certified organic farm, and it was cool listening to those guys talk about the process, but the fact that it really doesn't matter if the certification, regardless, of course, It's coveted.
Yeah.
But
That's the business.
but that's the way, right? And so it was really neat talking to those guys. The marigolds, that was good. That was a good piece of information I tucked away. I'm gonna use that at home.
Questions I'm really kind of afraid to ask because, like, is that a dumb question, or what? Well, I figured-
You ask a number of them.
I do, and I think that you've got to be a kid at heart. You have to be a kid at heart. You have to be inquisitive. You have to continue to learn, and if you don't, you just fall flat, right? I mean, we
Right.
talked about that with business last night, and even in farming, Brian, constantly learning.
Well, you
New
have to
methods.
evolve. And even as what they were saying here at Berg today, going to micro spray heads to water in between, because traditional is flood irrigating into orchards. And that's so it's constantly staying up, looking for new ways to prune. I mean, that's life. If we're not learning, we're dying.
It might take 40 years to get a handle of the land, and then another 20 to figure out some business with it. And then at 80 years, you're probably like, okay, well, now we know our land and we can get into a good stride. Now, the business stuff is what's so different. I wish there wasn't business in farming. Just enjoy the delicious, bountiful
You'd
food.
have to eat a lot of cherries if
You would.
if you weren't selling.
I want to do just trades,
Maybe not this year.
Let's go
but
back to trading.
Well,
Guys, come over here.
Yeah,
Let's finish
I
this
think
all
a great way
together.
to finish, and a sort of a ponder question for all of you is farming is about preserving for future generations. So to Greg's point, I think a lot of where there is a disconnect sometimes in the farming on the business side is because you're looking at how do I preserve this farm? How do I take this to the next generation? And sometimes that's more about how do we make sure all this keeps together versus me selling and making profits.
That's where I was
and
going with that.
it's just
Exactly.
so. I mean,
So, if I think I understand, for me it rests in the diverse set of minds, people with passion, people with variety of experience, and I think we accidentally stumbled upon that. It's like, well, I love sustainability. I'm passionate about education and learning and community. Lauren is on the business end, the financial end. My brother's tinkering, building things, and we're just sort of bumping into each other.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wow, the first 10 years was about building the infrastructure, and I think the next 10 years is about building the intellectual structure. How do we move into the community? What does it look like? Ask those questions. Who in our community needs help? We're service-minded, support. What does that look like? Those are the thrilling conversations, and that's the huge shift from my perspective.
So can
Please.
I add on to that? I completely agree with Stephanie. I think, though, you touched on a real challenge for any small farm is the financial side.
Sure.
So we have been investing in this for 15 years. I'm 61. I'm certainly not going to farm, for another 30 years probably. So what we're doing too is my sons. I have two sons who are interested. Stephanie has children. So one of the things that we are shifting our mindset is how do we make this attractive and sustainable and financially feasible for the next generation.
Yeah, how do you? Because you're not waving $100 bills in front of their faces.
We're still working on it.
Yeah. It's an interesting
still
You
working
know
on
of
it.
anybody?
Yeah, you think restaurants work at small margins? Think of your farm, and that's why know your farmer, and it's such a big deal. That's why we do what we do. We connect Colorado to its food and beverage, the Modern Eater Show. We tour for that, so you guys get to meet these folks. That's why we do the summer dinner series, 8 weeks in a row, all of July and August. Top chefs in Colorado using these types of ingredients. That's how you connect. How else do you connect? Educate yourself. Visit, look for yourself, participate, be a part.
Yep.
That's what it's about.
So true.
Community.
Yeah.
We'll end on community.
Right.
Thank you from Berg Harvest right here. The Modern Eater Show
Yeah.
continues.
Thank you so much.